Hey, what's happening, folks? Alex here, also Bennett, and today I've got a brand new video for you. And as a lot of you know, well, pretty much everyone knows now, there is a new condition and a lot of new rules, right? And of course, this is to do with the new link summon changes, and this is by far the biggest change in the whole of Yu-Gi-Oh! In my personal opinion. I think this is by far the biggest change in rules and everything. And I'm going to go into a brief description before I go into my personal opinion. So beforehand, let's go have a look at the board, what this is going to be like. Okay, so in a nutshell, there is going to be a monster that you must summon first if you want to summon monsters from your extra deck onto your main field. So this is your main, of course, main monster field, right? But you can't have extra deck monsters here. You can only have an extra deck monster here unless you have a link monster card, and the link monster card comes from the extra deck, and you can put the link monster card in the extra deck, and this will link to your monster zone. So if you have a link monster here and it links to here, of course, this is a random XYZ card, and you can have an extra deck monster here and an extra deck monster there. So it just links together. So it's kind of weird. I know that might not sound as clear, but that's just how I'm trying to portray it. It's kind of simple when you think about it, but it's quite hard to explain. But again, it gives back this card here gives your opponent a link as well, so they can special summon an extra deck monster from here as well. Now, this is big. This is big, and also let me just go into here, right? If you set what's it called, a pendulum card here and here, this bit now becomes your pendulum scale. So this just removes two of your spaces for spell and trap cards. So if you're thinking of putting five down, five spell and trap cards down, then you just better just not play pendulum, because pendulum has now been quite hit nicely, and I think this is good for hitting pendulum, because by far pendulum was is the hardest methods to balance in my opinion, Yu-Gi-Oh history, because it can come up with extremely unfair plays, hashtag monkey board and plush fire, but it just disallows you to now vomit all over the field, because like that's the problem with pendulum. So it's like you make some explosive play and everything goes back to the extra deck, and then you can just make an explosive play all over again. So this kind of changes everything. Like the pendulum scales now just go into the um in like pendulum scales just go into the spell and trap card zone, rather than just being some random pendulum scale. So what my opinion is to this is that this here is going to change the game drastically. This game is going to be far different to what it is. And after thinking about it for a while, I was really wanting to quit Yu-Gi-Oh! By looking at this. I was thinking, shit, this is going to force me. This is going to make me want to really, quit the game. Like, really just want to say, bye bye Yu-Gi-Oh! Because this is a game changer. I think Konami going to lose a lot of players, but I think this needs to be looked at extremely well, because this has only been revealed to us today, or well, kind of yesterday, because it's I can't explain, but this has only been revealed recently. So we actually need to give it time before we really start judging it. But I'm going to go into my full opinion. So this is by far one of the most interesting things that they've ever done. Because like what they're trying to do is change explosive plays, and instead of just having playing around the main deck, the extra deck, I think Konami want you to play with the main deck as well, because the whole thing I'm finding is that like at the moment there's no boss monsters that are in the main deck. Like let's look at Zodiacs in particular. It's like get Rapier out and all that, and then go into something like a Dryden or a Broad Bull or something stupid like that, right? So it's just playing around the main deck. DDD similar. Get Genghis out and then go into Siegfried and all that sort of stuff. So you're like big plays. But now what it is it's like, okay, so instead of that, now what you have to have in order to make these explosive players is have the Link monster here. Like instead of that. So the Link monster can't be put down in face down defense position, so no Book of Mooning, no Quaking Mirror Force. It's very, very straightforward, has no defense points, but can be attacks and everything. I'm still trying to figure out the whole concept with um, with how it's going to be if I say attack it and destroy it. Do the links go as well? So do the monsters, the extra deck monsters I've got there, get destroyed as well? I'm very unsure about that. But yeah, that's what it's like, and it's interesting, And I think looking at it in the first time, I was thinking, shit. Now I really disagree with this. I think it's going to change the game altogether, but it slows the game down a bit. And I think what they're trying to remove the whole concept with whoever goes first wins, because that's mainly what it's like. Like DDD's a big, big example, Like first turn, I'm able to get a Crystal Wing, a Siegfried, and a Hope Harbinger out, and that's like an unbreakable board. And hey, I could even have a Vanities face down. That's an unbreakable board. Like, and it punishes everything, and they want to like prevent this. It's going to create new strategies for people to really think like, well, if I want to make this big board, then I have to really work for it and maybe get like some link monsters out and really create this. Otherwise, if not, I can only just like just get out one boss monster out, and that's it. I mean, it's very simple to get these out as well. Like, you have to have like two, like in this case, it's a Link 3, so you have to have three effect monsters and like tribute them to special summon from the field, right? If it's a Link 1, it's just one monster, so on and so forth. But this is going to remove loads of like different what's it called? Things that people do. Like, I think the whole thing with Brilliant Fusion is going to go downhill because no one's really going to be able to summon Seraphonite, go into two special summons. I mean, they can use Seraphonite for a link, which I guess is okay, but like usually you'd get Seraphonite, use Seraphonite for another XYZ a an XYZ or a synchro play or something like that. But in this case, you can't. We can, but you can only do one, and it's quite limited. So I think Brilliant Fusion is going to go downhill. And I think this is a really cool thing, but I think what Konami need to be careful with is how people are going to react to this and how they're going to create decks now. They have to create two types of decks, I think. Decks that are non-reliant on extra deck, like if you're to put any extra deck monsters in there, there'd only be monsters like a Castel and a Bisweiler, or something generic, simple. Otherwise, there should be none, or something like one extra deck boss monster. And I think we have to look at it like this. Like, let's go look back at Monarchs, right? Monarchs, you're able to play Monarchs like just pure domain Monarchs without using the extra deck at all. You could have Erebus and like Aether as your main Monarchs, and then that is it. Like, like you can play around that. You can play domain Monarchs. It's very straightforward. You don't even need the extra deck. Or you could play like Felgrand and all that. But here's another thing, and I think this is the main reason why they didn't release the whole Ancient Gear deck recently, is because they've been preparing for this for a long, long time. Like, I've got like the OCG extra deck list all posted here, right? Now, here's all of it, and there's one thing that you may not realize. This entire deck contains no extra deck monsters, but from what I've been hearing from other YouTubers on like in other videos and from people at my locals, the deck is highly playable and very strong alone. And I think this is what Konami are trying to promote. They're trying to promote and bring back the whole thing of just like, having boss monsters in your main deck rather than just having them in your extra deck. Because that kind of feels like what it is. It's kind of extra deck to win. Like, whoever has like the Crystal Wing, whoever has a Hope Harbinger wins. Like, I think it's good that they're trying to remove that a little bit. But the one thing I'm not happy with is the fact it's forcing people to do it. I don't like that. Like, when there was Pendulum was released and it was scattered all over the place, like, sure, Pendulum came out and all that. Why did I not care about it? Because I didn't want to play any Pendulum decks. I play none. I mean, like, you can count, what's it called? DDDs as one, but like you know that's kind of different, you know. But you know this is different. Like it forces you to do it, and I think that's where it's going to lose fans because like you don't want to be forced to do something at all. Like I don't want to be forced to have to pay attention to this. Like this is a huge thing. Like I'm gonna have now have to invest money on um like what's it called, link monsters when I don't really want to. But like that's just how it's gonna have to be for now. Like they're gonna remove explosiveness, slow down the game, and make more decks that are less extra deck reliant, more playable. And I like that. I like that, and I really agree with it. But at the same time, what I'm not happy with it with is the fact that it's forcing us to use it. I don't like that. Last thing on my idea is that there are a few cards that are on the ban list that are at one and all that that I think just need to come off straight. That need to get banned instantly. Like if this when this comes out, the first card is Rigeki. Rigeki needs to be banned if when this comes out because the whole prospect of Rigeki is to destroy all your opponent monsters, and at the moment this is going to slow down the game a lot. And if you make some huge power play that you've used everything, you know, like you're unable to actually do anything afterwards, Rigeki will just punish it and destroy everything. Like absolutely everything, and now that's all your stuff gone down the drain. Like this card cannot exist when this comes out because like this card is just going to be everywhere otherwise, you know, just punish every single power play. I mean, sure, power plays need to be punished now because they're too explosive, but in the future they're not going to be explosive because they're not going to be as common. I predict that. I mean, of course, people are going to find ways to do that, but you know, it's not going to be as good. You know, and there'll be so many decks that are going to go downhill. First deck I'm going to be happy that will go downhill is Dark Synchro FTK. I fucking hate that deck. But at the same time, it's like this card can't exist. Cards like Dark Hole I think will be fine because it punishes you. Like there has to be ways that this punishes yourself. But what I do not like is the fact that it's only allowing me to special summon one extra deck monster, which is okay. But if I'm doing that like one extra deck monster by turn, that's okay, I guess. But the fact that I can only have one on the field unless I have a link monster is pretty wonky. Like loads of decks are going to go downhill because of that. But I think it's fair because every deck's going to go like lose it, and it's going to bring back a ton of decks that are non-extra deck reliant. Like Cosmo's going to be a bit more popular because, of course, again, it's not extra deck reliant apart from Cyber Dragon Infinity, but that's not really 100% always needed. Monarchs and Monarchs, I think Monarchs will be a little bit more popular. Decks that are non-extra deck reliant will be popular because it's this needs to be a case where they're not forcing us to use forcing us to use this mechanic. Like that's why I think Ancient Gear, when this comes out, I'm buying it instantly. But like when this deck comes out and everything, like this is where it's going to get a bit more popular because like more main deck monsters are boss monsters now. There's only going to be like one extra deck boss monster, and that's it. Apart from that, everything else there is just pretty much non-existent and doesn't really matter. So anyway, guys, that's just my opinion on the whole concept of link monsters and all that. I think it's going to be a healthy system for the card for the deck because it's going to force us to really work towards getting these huge fields out, and I like that because it just like it smooths the game out and like prevents explosive players, and Pendulum goes downhill a little bit, which I'm happy with because I'm not really a big fan of Pendulum. Anyway, that's just my opinion and my stuff. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more. If we can get at least 10 likes on here, that would be much appreciated. I know this is a long video, but this is just how it is. Anyway, my name's been Alex, also Sir Bennett, and I am signing out. Peace.